Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Raw Life Health Show. Today's message is about me eating a raw food diet for so long and my dad eating weed killer, and how can we figure this out and come to some great understanding of what we all need to do in the future with our health. Over 20 years ago, I was diagnosed with a disease called ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease, inflammatory bowel disease. And at the time, I thought it was one of the worst things that could ever happen to somebody. But now, when I reflect back on everything, and it just completely was the best thing that ever could have happened to me. It's what I needed in my life to come to realize how bad I was eating and how bad I was living. And sometimes it takes something like that to wake us up. And then another amazing story of how I found Hippocrates Health Institute and found out about the raw food diet, and everything in my story that I was struggling with to go through these things and figure these things out turned out to be such an amazing blessing. And here I am, over 20 years later, still eating a raw vegan diet and still learning about health and still uh, preaching and letting people know about how to best take care of their bodies and so on. But people asked me a long time ago, and is it sad or disheartening to see so many other people destroying their own health with the food they're putting in their bodies and so on, and smoking cigarettes and doing these things and taking drugs, when you know so much of how much damage they're creating to your bodies? And I don't know the best way to put it. I mean, I'm the type of person that says, well, there's a lot of people that don't want to hear this truth, but I'm gonna take my time, and to the people who want to hear it. I don't want to give my book to somebody who's not interested in being healthy. I want to give my books and talk to people and share my information with people that are interested in it. And I have to figure that out of who is and who isn't. But when it comes to people that are closest to me, my close friends and my family, and obviously when I see them not eating healthy, it's just knowing that what they're doing to their bodies is just, it just doesn't make me feel good. And my parents are a great example. For a very long time, I've been talking to them about health, and it's very interesting when people say, well, I'm not going to eat the way you eat or do what you eat. And forget about me. Take me out of the scenario. I want you to eat the best food that's possible and available to you on a regular basis, because I care enough about you where I want you to be as healthy as possible. And if you're suffering from disease, I want you to make the wisest choices based on information that's been proven to work. Take me out of the scenario. Take what I'm doing out of the scenario. And you do the research yourself and figure it out. But when I go and I speak to people, like I found out recently, and I should have known this a long time ago, but there's certain things I don't really partake in as much anymore. So I don't really study it or think about it as much. But I always say things that come in a bag, box, container, or can are things that are processed, and we should try to avoid those things. I was at my dad's house the other day, and he's obsessed with Cheerios. He loves Cheerios. Cheerios, I can remember for as long as they've been out, as long as I've been growing up as a child, my dad always loved Cheerios. And my dad I use often as an example of how people think today. And when it comes to food, it's not necessarily a good thing. I've learned some wonderful lessons from my dad, but when it comes to diet and health, not he hasn't taught me much. And also, his reaction to certain things is not something that I desire to follow. I think people in general are scared of change. So I found out that a lot of the unorganic oats that are in popular cereal brands today have many harmful weed killers and pesticides in them. Monsanto pesticides, weed killers. And if the cereal is coming from some grain that was sprayed with these toxic chemicals, it can be in the cereal. So in fact, you could be eating weed killer. And some of these has been known to cause cancer. So you're literally paying for a box of cereal, of oats, that if they're not organic, they could have Roundoff and all these other toxic chemicals on them and everything else. So I knew this, but I didn't really speak about it. I guess it's not something new, but so I'm not a fan of cereal, but I'm meet people where they're at. I'm not going to tell my dad to stop eating cereal because he's been eating it his whole life, and I don't want to sound like too crazy to him. I want to help him out a little, so I said, Dad, I'll buy you a cereal that's the same exact ingredients but organic, so you're not eating any weed killers or certain things. Now, I'm not a fan of box cereals, but I'm trying to do it in a good order here. I'm not, I prefer not to eat it, but Dad, let me get you the organic kind. The same exact ingredients, but organic. How do you know it's organic? They have laws. They can't say it's organic if it's not, especially in a package. These were why laws were created. So that's the mindset of the world today. Well, it costs more money. I'm paying for it, Dad. Don't worry about it. I'll supply it for the rest of your life. Let me give you organic. Okay. As long as it's called organic Cheerios, I'll take it. No, Dad, the name might be different, but it's the same exact ingredients. Well, then I don't want to try it. I don't even want to try it if the name's not the same. I'm a Cheerios person, and I want my Cheerios, and if they make organic Cheerios, then maybe. But if they call it a different name, I don't want it. But it's the same exact ingredients, just organic. No, I don't want it. This is how marketing and advertisements have brainwashed people. I think it's a very common sense approach to tell somebody this. But no, I don't want it. And it's disheartening to know that. I mean, now my dad loves the news and the media, and if Dr. Oz was on TV telling people, oh, there's this new cereal that has the same ingredients as Cheerios, but you're not getting the weed killer and all this other stuff, and if it says organic, but it's a different name, my dad probably called me up telling me where he can get it. And it's eating healthy, I found, is physically easy. It's more a mental and emotional thing. That's the challenge is. It's change. It's letting go of things that you've been doing for so long and changing. And often people aren't willing to do that because they're so stuck in their ways, because they've been brainwashed by society so much. Eating a raw food diet, a raw vegan diet, I have found to be wonderful. Organic foods I have found to be very important. And the more information and knowledge is out there, that's really what's going into our food that these big companies are supplying, the more and more I'm against people eating processed food that comes in bag, box containers, or cans. I think all grain should be organic. I think the nuts and seeds are better sprouted. But we also need to consider about overeating. I think many people overeat. I think even the sugar that we have today, many of the foods out there today just have way too much sugar, even the natural foods. And I think we have an addiction problem with overeating because we're not satisfying ourselves in life, that we run to food, especially comfort foods that we had growing up to help us. And it might not necessarily get us drunk like an alcoholic runs to alcohol, but it's definitely creating damage in the body when we run to food as our comfort. And this creates a problem because it's the wrong foods that people run to. And I do believe a lot of it is based on lack of knowledge, but a lot of it is also based on this brainwashing and what people are, how people have become. I'm not picking on my dad. I love my dad, and the point is many people in this world are like my dad. You can give them the clear proof and evidence, and you could offer them a very wise replacement for what they're doing, but they're just scared of change. And it's just another way we got to figure out how to look at this. And yeah, and and thankfully so, my dad hasn't been stricken with any diseases or so on or anything else. But I know people his age that take care of themselves. They eat healthier. They take certain vitamins, and the quality of their life, I'll say, is they're able to be more active and do more things. And I do believe as we grow that that's an important thing to have, to be able to be more active and do certain things. And I'm very thankful that my dad doesn't have any major diseases, but it'd be wonderful if he can go to the gym with me and exercise with me, or play tennis with me, or just things like that. But because of his own lack of knowledge and willingness to change, he can't do those things. And but hey, I give it to him. He's made it. He's getting up there in age, but I on the other hand, I have friends that are much older than him that are more active than him. So I just use that as a barrier. But I'm very thankful that I've learned about this truth, and I don't claim to know it all, and I've made many mistakes along the way. But I do know if somebody's going to offer you the same exact thing, just an organic version of it, probably wise to consider at least looking more into it. All right, everybody, put your comments or questions below if you have these types of situations in your life. Let me hear about them. And thank you. Have a great day, everybody, and a great world life.
Nature's wealth, good for your health. This is the Raw Life Health Show. Raw Life, brighten up your life.